everyone, and welcome to another episode of Designing Justice. I'm Priyambada Shivaji.
And I'm Shreya Tripathi.
We are part of the Justice, Access and Lowering Delays in India initiative at the Vidhi Center for Legal Policy. Through this series, we've been speaking to various stakeholders in the justice system to identify areas ripe for intervention and potential solutions for building universally accessible, inclusive, future ready, and better courts for all. We have with us today Ms. Priyanka Kalyan.
Priyanka is a registered sign language interpreter and soft skill trainer with over 15 years of experience. She is a child of deaf adults who brings both professional expertise and living understanding of communication barriers. She has also assisted advocates and parties in navigating courtroom processes by interpreting live proceedings. Her work is pivotal now as courts in India are slowly but surely recognizing the need for linguistic and communicative accessibility for diverse users. From the Supreme Court acknowledging the importance of interpreters in constitution bench hearings, to high courts such as Delhi, Karnataka, Kerala, and Madras issuing directions for continuously engaging with sign language interpreters, courts across the country are gradually taking steps towards a more inclusive judicial proceedings. Such steps reflect an important shift that would hopefully percolate to the rest of the country, that we should no longer view interpreters as an exception or accommodation, but a foundational requirement for equal access to justice.
This discussion today, we'll try to understand Priyanka's on-ground experiences as an interpreter, to understand what access through interpretation looks like in practice, and what are some of the systemic gaps that continue to exist in the system, and how these can be addressed through further institutional measures to ensure that persons who are hard of hearing or deaf can equally and fully engage with the justice system. So, thank you so much for joining us today, Priyanka. And this will be a free-flowing conversation. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you so much. We'll begin by discussing your experiences so far in particularly with respect to assisting lawyers and litigants in courts, and then we'll go towards more broader questions about institutional reforms. So, to begin with, could you tell us how long you have been interacting with the justice system and what your experience has been over the years? Like, in which courts have you interpreted? Has it been mainly for lawyers or litigants, etc.?
Yeah, I have mainly done interpretation for Karnataka courts. It can be Arsikere Hassan, it can be in Kolar, it can be in Bangalore. So mainly my court of contact will be mainly in Karnataka actually.
Right. And how long have you been doing this?
I think after getting certified, you can call it as 15 years. Or before that, also being a deaf parents, having deaf parents. Few of my parents' friend also needs something, has not as a certified one, but I used to go. I used to go and help them out, saying what is it, how it is, that in a short way.
So, as a support person in courts, what has been your experience like? Like, for example, what are some of the key areas where you think that reforms are necessary, and they need to prioritize these reforms to improve accessibility in courts?
Yeah, the main thing is there is very big barrier, that is lack of awareness. Like whom to reach, where to reach.
Hmm.
Like if they know it is a court and you need to go for a lawyer. That's all they know. But how to reach after that, whom to communicate, and if they go and talk to the lawyer saying this is my case, even the lawyer doesn't know how to tell what is going on, like what is the first step to take, how to communicate to them. They'll tell no, no, first is you are disabled, okay. That is the first reaction, like हमको लेना है या नहीं लेना है.
Yeah.
Okay, it would be like communication problem or something, and it's like a burden for the individual itself. Please bring your family members, then we will talk, or bring somebody, your friends, then we will talk. This is the first thing which, so there is a lots of lack of awareness, where to go, how to reach out.
Mhm. So, just as a follow-up to this, because you, as you said, you have had a lot of experiences with people who may be hard of hearing or deaf. When they are interacting with these officials, so maybe lawyers or maybe like with a police officer, etc. Uh, do you think like there is a place in the conversation where because they don't get the support from the other side or like that understanding from the other side, they just maybe just agree with whatever is being said or like just go with whatever being said, or do
Yeah.
you think that they try to assert their rights or like ask for what they are what they should be given?
It's like 70% no, 30% yes. It depends on the lawyers. Actually, what happens is lawyers are judged like they are like it's a disabled person. Should we prolong it? We should pull it, or रफा दफा कर देंगे short form में. It's like that. So few people are more empathetic, saying that okay, we will listen to you, what has happened, and few people tell इसका इतना ही है, let's finish it off.
Hmm.
So that is actually like 70% no. People like the reaction is rafa dafa कीजिए, वही we have to prolong, and they feel that even they will not get money. That is also there. Okay, so they don't want to push it. So that's the reason. I feel it's 70 and 30%.
Yeah. I think one more problem is that in courts, even for able-bodied persons, the support facilities such as washrooms, well-maintained washrooms or waiting areas is not there to the fullest possible extent. And for persons who are persons with disabilities, that difficulty also compounds. So, have you, in your experience, also noticed any problems in these kinds of
Yes, what happens
facilities?
is, there is only one washroom somewhere in the corner. And when person, any disabled person has to go and use that washroom, मतलब उसको वापस वहां से यहाँ आके he or she has to use it, then go back. And again, if I think I have to go to washroom, so far.
Hmm.
That will be actually,
Definitely.
and then because the thing is they have to take the lift if they are in second floor or third floor, and the washroom is on only they will say na third gender disabled
Yeah.
washroom,
Yeah.
friendly washroom is one which is in ground floor. So what
Hmm.
happens? Again they have to take the lift, so that is a big accessibility issue, that maybe if the lift part also is that you have to pull it and push it, that is
Hmm.
also
Yes.
a big. If it is automatic, it's okay, I feel okay better. Or else उसके लिए भी किसी को बुलाओ, या दे आजू बाजू वाले दे हैव टू रेस्पॉन्ड, ओके वी विल डू इट फॉर, मतलब maybe it's like they would feel ki no, somebody is helping us constantly, we are not so independent, so
Yeah.
that will be there always, I feel.
Right. I think abhi tak we have spoken about like the experience like once you are reaching the court complex, but
Yeah.
then there is the entire thing of like being in a hearing, which is like even more like in itself again for everybody
Very
person.
absent, it's very absent minded for a deaf person mainly. I'm talking
Yeah.
about deaf here. It is like, because the lawyer is talking here, the judge is talking, whatever conversation is going on,
Hmm.
it's like a tennis match. Okay, we are just watching it, and we are just, because we don't know what are the rules.
Hmm.
A deaf person
Definitely.
being, if I am a deaf person, I don't know what is it, I'm waiting. They both have already spoken what is to be done, and then you are communicating with the person. So it is not that what he wants,
Hmm.
like already the mutual, you both have already spoken to each other, then it is coming. So if it is continuously having an interpreter, continuously seeing an interpreter what is going on, then understanding, he can even tell no, this is not right, actually this is not correct, actually my thing was something different, you people are telling something. Sometimes happens is they have come, they said something, and how they have taken it we don't know. Okay, and there will be something else said to the judge. It happens.
Hmm.
So, and after everything, when it is coming till the end, where he will tell that no, actually, this was not the problem. Actually, that was the problem. What I wanted, and you people have already spoken and finished it. So it's like communication barrier. That's the only
Yeah.
problem,
Yeah.
actually.
So without like
Because, yeah,
taking names or like taking any specific
yeah, yeah,
can you give
okay.
me like give us like one or two examples of like when something like this has happened or when you have seen something like this happen?
There was a dispute between husband and wife. Okay, so wife was hearing, and he was husband is a deaf person. Okay, he had a problem or some allegation on wife, which wanted to be spoken to the judge. Wife is a hearing person. Okay, so she's going on telling, no, my husband is that, that, this, that, this. That. Clearly बोल सकती है वो, ये बोलना चाहता है कि
Hmm.
नहीं ये सब जो बोल रही है it's not true what she is telling actually I have suffered but till he tell how will he convey it to the concerned person who is judging it's very difficult and even they will be if he is signing or if he speak if he's hard of hearing sometimes the speech is not clear so what
Hmm.
happens is the clarity is not clear some things will be left out what they are trying to tell so it's like the other person is decided कि नहीं उसके साथ बहुत अत्याचार हुआ है
Hmm.
ये it's like that's what happening every time so normally they tell what is the use of telling so what happens is they have to call somebody in their family who can talk and they don't have that patience actually happens one time everybody will have that patience of conveying but when it comes every time
Hmm.
everybody gets worked up you're calling everybody please come it it this is the main problem when it comes.
Another thing is there are rules that say, you should have at least two interpreters in one and at one instance so that the interpreters don't get tired out, etc. So this requires additional space to be given within the courtroom
Yes.
during a hearing, right? So
And
in your experience,
it is how like he has to see the interpreter constantly what is going on when they are so that he understands who is talking what. So that if
yes,
there is something where he has to tell, no, this is wrong, this is right. Maybe the other person, for example, what I told, the wife's lawyer or somebody is telling something which he might deny it. So interpreter is signing, he can stop there at the time so that it's easier to tell, no, this is not right. Actually, this is what she is telling is wrong or lie or whatever it is. That
right,
this is not happening. Now, what happens is till he tell, everybody will tell, wait. So wait, we will listen to you. We will. So this whole part till she finishes to tell, ये इसका कुछ points भूल गया होगा ये भी. He, at
yes,
that time, what it comes, na, till the end, he wants to convey the way he wants to convey. Maybe he has forgotten, or that way of telling also might be something different. So yeah,
absolutely,
that happens. And being two interpreters because constantly what happens, 20 minutes we can interpret. And if it
right.
is too much, because continuously talking for 20 minutes is also draining, right? We tell, okay, fine, करके. That's how it is actually. So yeah.
Definitely. I think, especially when it comes to interpreting, something which is very legal heavy, as you mentioned, it's a dynamic thing. You have to know when to deny, etc. And you have to interpret legal provisions, sections of an act, or case names
Very,
and things like
very
that, right? So, have you faced
we
any
have to keep
challenges with
on
regard to that?
signing what is going on, right? And it's not a simple way of conveying something. So he will tell something that no, according to this section, you have done that section. So that way of conveying drains your brain as an interpreter. Okay, because
Right, right.
normal conversation is much easier when it is because it's a flow. But when it comes and we have to listen, the process is three times bigger where we have to listen, convert it to English. It's how it is. And that
Yes,
conversion also should get down to the level of deaf person. Everybody don't understand same sign language. So you have to get down to that deaf person sign language. If it is the other person, deaf person, we have to get down to the other person's the way how to
yeah,
convey so that he understands and responds us properly. So yeah, it's a
yeah,
bit of draining. That's the reason we need 20 minutes shift. That's much
yes.
easier.
Have you ever, when you have to had to do this in like a court, have you ever had like any instances where there is some resistance from, say, the court staff or like the judges or like maybe even the opposition counsel, anything like that?
Yeah, I had one instant where it was about a rape case actually. Okay, where it happened. First, I went to the police station, like as an interpreter. We came to know what happened to a deaf person, whatever. That was totally different. After that, when we came to the courtroom, the way those questions are put, right? And you know, first of all, it's a bit, being an Indian, okay, some things even it's not comfortable for me to say. Maybe because I am a girl or something like that. I don't know. But I can't tell you ki, yeah, I have to do everything. Sometimes it takes for me to tell to that girl asking questions what is like I hope you understood what I'm trying to tell. Like those
Yeah.
questions to get down and ask that in sign language, she has to answer me. I don't know what is her mindset. Okay, so because she doesn't want to answer those things, but the opposition is telling, no, no, this is not right, this is not wrong. And I have to again and again tell, no, no, you have to tell me. This is the question they
Yeah.
have. But I feel sometimes, yeah, thoda,
Hmm.
it's difficult.
Very delicate balance to strike.
Yeah. That I felt. Even when it comes to a normal thing, normal way of some courtroom thing also, na, to stop a person, a lawyer saying something and then convey. See, it takes time. It takes more time when a deaf person is there. For example, I have to tell him, I have to stop a person saying that, wait, I'm conveying, I have to get the response. Then I have to tell. So the time has taken a lot, and it's very normal. It is very normal that you have to wait for 2 3 seconds, he will respond.
Yeah.
But that response का time भी ना sometimes nobody has, because हमको दूसरा केस है, हमको जल्दी निपटाना है, हमको दिन में इतना केस है. So that happens sometimes कि no patience. So I
So,
feel when it is disabled person, any cases, that time frame also should be decided कि नहीं हमको देना चाहिए इतना
hmm.
importance और इतना time. It's not like normal people, ये hearing people वालों को कैसे करते हैं, हमको ऐसा नहीं करना. That awareness we have to give them.
ये तो मतलब we were talking about lawyers, but what
Yeah.
about like court staff or like judges? Like how has your experience been with them?
First of all, if it is a deaf person, first time coming to the court, and somebody is saying for the first time or something, they are very astonished. Oh, he's a deaf. Oh, what happened? What? Everybody is curious about it actually, and they'll be, oh, this can happen with these people also. The staff is like, it's like something. I thought it only happens with us. No, it's a human being. It's normal human being. सबके साथ सब कुछ हो सकता है. It's as simple as that. They see as the alien standing in the courtroom, the alien is standing, whatever it is, they'll keep on staring. I think even we feel very uncomfortable what is going on. They don't like,
Hmm.
don't give special importance. It's very normal. That's what.
On this note also, have you perhaps seen any training or sensitization programs that are being conducted to sensitize people regarding, as you just mentioned, that these are human beings. It's not, something which is to be seen as such a shock or
You,
in such a
yeah,
patronizing
sometimes
way.
if some people have met them earlier, if they have some background, like family में कोई है, कोई disabled है, थोड़ा empathy होता है उनको, okay, ऐसा है, वैसा है करके. वरना it is totally difficult to convince, and they will tell, no, madam, you tell off. I'll tell, I didn't even sign it. Wait, I have to sign it and take his permission. What he wants. I am not a decision maker over here. They think, okay, interpreter को बोल दिया तो काम हो गया, वो कर ले. I don't know. No, you have to tell me. I have to convey it. I have to get the response also whether it is right or wrong. If if there is a property dispute, right? They tell इतना 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 मिलेगा मैडम आप बोल दीजिए. They only tell us, wait, मैं बोलूंगी. आप रुकिए, वो उनको ठीक लग रहा है या नहीं मुझे नहीं मालूम, आई हैव टू टेक द रिस्पॉन्स, मैं आपको वो भी बोलूंगी कि ही इज अग्रीइंग टू इट और नॉट, एंड समटाइम्स इट्स दे ऑलरेडी डिसाइड।
Hmm.
हियरिंग पर्सन अगर डिस्प्यूट डाल रहा है प्रॉपर्टी के ऊपर, लॉयर और वो दोनों डिसाइड कर चुके हैं, तो डेफ पर्सन को सिर्फ पेपर दिया है, आप एक बार पढ़ लो।
Hmm.
See, what happens is you have to understand the education background of a deaf person also. Okay, it's everybody will not understand if you give one paper, read it and understand it. So he needs time so that he concerns whoever is educated in their family or something. Is this right? Because the education level of them and the English, if it is typed in English, they have to understand that what is there. It is not so easy to
Hmm.
understand. Mainly for deaf people, it takes time because it's fully on their language, courtroom language. Okay, this is our field. Even I, being an interpreter, I am also telling कि वो दिखाते हैं, मैं बोलती हूँ मैं नहीं मालूम, please some legal person is better,
Yeah.
because I can be wrong. I will not say that I know everything, because something goes wrong. Yes, बोल दिया. I don't know
Hmm.
what is next, because this is what, just for justice we are standing, and something goes wrong again we can't go back.
Hmm.
सामने जाने के बाद पीछे जाना इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट व्हेन वी गो फॉर अ कोर्ट केस, राइट? सो आपने तब भी
Yeah.
हाँ बोल दिया, अभी क्यों बोल, समझ में नहीं आया उनको।
Hmm.
हाँ, आपने सिर्फ एक पेपर में टाइप करके, एक बॉन्ड पेपर में वॉट एवर यू हैव गिवन हिम, ही डिडंट अंडरस्टैंड, ही डजंट नो दैट इंग्लिश, दैट accessibility of language is also a problem for a deaf person. If he is from somewhere from the rural place, you don't expect him to understand Kannada also, if it is in Kannada also, उनको आना तो चाहिए ना पढ़ने के लिए।
Right.
एक तो डिसेबल है, उसमें एजुकेशन इज अ बैरियर, किसको बुलाए करके प्रॉब्लम, फैमिली सपोर्ट नहीं है समटाइम्स, बिकॉज झगड़ा चल ही रहा है फैमिली के साथ। ओके, सो आई डोंट नो हाउ, लाइक इट्स अ हेल्प फॉर देम पापा।
So, we understand in like other countries, there are like specific qualifications that, interpreters have to get to like interpret for, say, certain like specialized places, such as like in the courts. इंडिया में ऐसे कुछ भी ऐसे स्पेसिफिक कोर्सेज या ऐसे कुछ है करंटली?
यस
एंड
यस, है है एक्चुअली अभी अवेयरनेस है 2000, लाइक पहले तो उतना अवेयरनेस नहीं था कि साइन लैंग्वेज क्या है, क्यों है, इज इट नेसेसरी, लाइक इट वाज लाइक एलियन लैंग्वेज, क्या जरूरत है साइन लैंग्वेज सीखने की। when I did my sign language was also like that, like people used to tell why are you doing it, so it was only that advantage was my parents were deaf and I knew what was its importance. Okay, so but the awareness started only after 2015. There was a boom. Oh no, accessibility, no there should be, because 2016 में जब RPW एक्ट आया, तो तब से शुरू हुआ है साइन लैंग्वेज इंपॉर्टेंट है, वो एक लैंग्वेज है डेफ लोगों का करके। बिफोर दैट nobody used to talk about sign language and all actually, and there were very few institution. Now at least they are कि ISLRTC है, अभी हमारा डॉक्टर चंद्रशेखर इंस्टीट्यूट बैंगलोर में है, so institutes are there. Okay, but even if you don't have a background of deaf people in your family na, they don't understand why they have to do this course, to be very frank. Okay, क्या जरूरत language, why diploma in sign language, you did your BCom. So we know it is important because this is accessibility sign language, that's the reason normally codas come into this, चाइल्ड ऑफ डेफ अडल्ट से ज्यादातर साइन लैंग्वेज करना अवेयरनेस है उनको, बट somebody outside people doing sign language course is like alien something, क्या जरूरत है, जॉब मिलेगा नहीं, like बीकॉम इंजीनियरिंग, हाँ कॉर्पोरेट जॉब, साइन लैंग्वेज what job? It's like that, but recognition is there, few institutes are there affiliated RCI से. Okay, it's in Delhi, it's in Bombay, it's in Orissa, Calcutta, and all. Few institutes are there which is RCI affiliated. So yeah, and people come for interpreting, and they ask for certificate. Right now, that is the thing. They ask a certificate, which is a good thing. Like,
Hmm.
not everybody is coming and telling that I know sign language for the time being. It's a good thing, I think, sometimes. Because what happens is some friend came and told, I don't know how much genuinity is there. Because that friend can be that friend also, who's his friend also. So, yeah,
Hmm.
that.
Um,
I
one other question that we had is for persons who are deaf or hard of hearing. Beyond the support of ISL interpreters, what other changes or measures are required for support in, especially when
think
it comes to courts?
both. Mainly the accessibility or how to understand what it is. They have to have that awareness of what is law,
Hmm.
Yes,
whom to reach out.
yes,
First basic thing is whom to reach out. They really don't know whom to reach out to. Which lawyer? There's so many lawyers,
Hmm.
right? They
yeah,
don't know
yeah,
that. That also, that kind of awareness is also not there for them, Papa. Lawyer means anybody wearing black coat is a lawyer. It's not like that, you know. You have to reach out.
yes,
That kind of awareness is very important so that makes easier for them. And what happens is, if you know this one, it's much easier, and others also can reach out easily.
Hmm.
true, true, absolutely.
So, how, I mean, of course, we have been talking about like the experiences people have faced in the court. So, how can we ensure that, the dignity of, PWDs, especially like persons hard of hearing, as we're talking about now, their dignity is prioritized like when they are in the court or like interacting with any like government official? And I mean, the measures that are taken for like empowering them does not end up like being patronizing or dismissing the like experiences that they have. मतलब what are some of the best practices you have seen that kahin pe they are being followed, and what can be maybe inculcated into our systems?
I've not seen anywhere, but to be very frank till now. So yeah, I have not seen. Maybe it is there, but I have not seen anywhere because people still struggle. Okay, people still struggle. It's just I want to tell that if any PWDs have a case, for example, कल उनका case है, तो थोड़ा सा that time, that space, and that importance and that awareness is important. कि कल उनका case है, थोड़ा प्रायोरिटाइज करो, थोड़ा टाइम दीजिए, उनका सुनो. इट्स नॉट कि डिसेबल है चलेगा. यू डोंट हैव दैट, डोंट डू दैट, है ना. You tell this is the time you have to come. Don't make them to wait. Please don't make them to wait. Okay. Give them the time. It's okay. You tell them to come at evening only if that time scheduled is 4 o'clock. No problem. Because it is difficult for them. If they are a wheelchair user, using washroom, going for food, going for breakfast, they come at morning.
Hmm.
So having that time slot is very important. That थोड़ा सा prioritize कर दीजिएगा. Okay, so that it's easier. And if you're calling a sign language interpreter for a deaf person, also if you're prior to the payment will be much easier for them because it's a burden for them, na, paying
Hmm.
an interpreter. Seriously, I'm telling you. One time they will pay, but they see they are doing work, so they need payment. Now you are waiting, you are making them to wait whole day. Even the interpreter has to wait for the whole day, so that is a burden for a deaf person.
Hmm.
So, and wheelchair user, first is accessibility issue. They have the movement issue. Mobility नहीं होगा, बहुत मुश्किल होता है उनको. कितना
Hmm.
देर कुछ भी चाहिए होगा, they have to go back, come, waiting, draining out. So थोड़ा सा, that's what. If you know tomorrow that case is there, prioritize little bit.
Hmm.
Have awareness ki what kind of disabled person, what kind of time you have to give, what kind of questions and answers you can ask and give that time to answer it back.
Hmm.
Yes,
Yeah, so that should be everybody in the courtroom knowing that.
Right.
yeah,
It can be the opposite one, the lawyer, both the lawyers, the judge, like what is he wanting, ask that. When a deaf person or a PWD or a blind comes, Anybody visually impaired also comes, right? First, ask that person what he wants. We should not decide कि blind है तो हाथ पकड़ के आने पर हो जाएगा, व्हील चेयर ढकलने पे हो जाएगा, डेफ को लिखने पे हो जाएगा. Don't decide that. Ask what is needed. So that's better.
I think especially because whenever we talk about this, we always talk about, these large scale policy kind of reforms, but this is the summary of what it is that we need to do. We should
हाँ.
ensure that these small changes that we can make in how we treat persons with disabilities is going to go a long way.
हमारे वो माइंडसेट है कि अगर वो खेल लेके जा रहा है, ठीक है, उसको सिर्फ हाथ पकड़ के छोड़ देंगे तो खुश है वो. नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है, उसको जाना भी नहीं होगा, तुम ही धकल के लेके जा रहे हो उसको वहां पे शायद. It happens like that. So yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Priyanka, for so patiently taking your time out and answering all of these questions that we had. I think your insights about your on-ground experience interacting with persons and assisting persons in courts has really helped because it's shed some much-needed light on how this interpretation is actually taking place in courts. And we keep talking about long-term, again, changes, policies. As Shreya mentioned at the beginning, courts are trying to take more steps towards accessibility, but there are a lot of things that we need to be aware of along the way. That we need to ensure that we are doing it right rather than just doing
We
it for
have
the sake of it.
started. I will not deny it. We have started. Something is happening. I'll not deny
Yeah,
it, being an individual, okay? But that is
yeah,
not enough. Don't think we did this.
yeah.
Yeah,
Long
that's the
way
word.
still to go.
Yeah, still many things are there too. मतलब ये कर दिया ना, हो गया. नहीं नहीं, ये कर दिया, good, good. But है और चाहिए हमको. It's like that, okay? और चाहिए और बहुत कुछ change करना है. Just slowly होगा.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for again for joining us today. And I think as we keep this conversation going and your contributions towards ensuring that our justice system is more inclusive for all persons, this has been very helpful. So thank you so much today
So this is
for
the
joining
sign
us today.
language. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Is this how you do it?
Yeah,
Thank
this is
you.
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.